connect and give. Give first, add value always, and give without expectation. And if you could give to givers, your life will really take a turn for the better. If you give to takers all the time, not so much.
Sure.
But if you're giving to givers, life will get a lot better for you quickly.
What is, everybody? It's your host once again, Brad Blazer, here on Beast Nation, where we drop bombs. We bring you the best of the best. A lot of people call me a lot of things, but I am known as the Robin Hood of information. I bring knowledge from those that have it, like our great guest today, and I share it with those that don't. My guest today not only has a cool name, I love this dude's name, but he's also a great connector of people. He is considered to be one of the most connected people in business. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're somebody that wants to learn how to grow and grow quickly, this guy has got some magical golden nuggets I guarantee he'll share today, because I believe you're just one connection away from greatness. Let's give it a big welcome for our guest today, Mr. Larry K. Benet. Larry, welcome.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
I'll tell you,
I'm
man,
excited to be here.
I have been checking you out and I have been following you, and you are definitely one connected individual. There's no doubt about it. I want to find out how you have been able to connect with so many people, but more importantly, what you see as the value in making powerful connections.
So, well, first off, thank you. I would say a couple things. So I think if people listening don't remember anything else of what I share, I think the key takeaway is always be of service.
Yep.
Always bring something of value. Connect and give. Give first, add value always, and give without expectation. And if you could give to givers, your life will really take a turn for the better. If you give to takers all the time, not so much.
Sure.
But if you're giving to givers, life will get a lot better for you quickly. So for example, I'll give you three quick, I'm in Chicago as we're doing this. I don't know when someone's going to watch or listen to this, but the NBA All-Star Weekend just finished up. And there was a couple people that I connected with over the weekend, but my formula for connecting is a very simplistic thing. So it doesn't matter if someone's brand new in business. Yep. They could be in college and just getting started, or they could have been in business a long time. But my formula is always the same. It's basically trying to make, authentic connection with someone else, whether it's personal, to understand professionally, what do they like, charitable wise, whatever. After they've been able to make a personal connection, try to find out what is most important to someone else. Okay. Mm-hmm. After you found out what's important to someone else, the third thing is, can you help them? How can I help you, Brad, with something that you care about, Yep. And then after I've helped someone, I think the next two things are the key critical components, and that's being a VC or a value creator. And the fifth and last is you might be able to add value to someone. You might be able to connect with someone. But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to follow up in a memorable way, stay in touch over long periods of time, it may not mean anything. So just to give you a perfect example, this weekend, a couple interesting things that happened. I saw someone that I've been wanting to connect with for a very long time. He's a billionaire. He's one of the owners of he owns the Philadelphia 76ers. He owns a sports clothing manufacturing company called Fanatics. His name is Michael Rubin. Michael also, his Super Bowl party is one of the best Super Bowl parties every year.
It's a good reason to know the guy.
Yeah, that's always nice. But anyway, bottom line is, him and I have a mutual friend and a guy named Jesse Itzler. But I saw him as he was literally getting ready. I was in the lobby of the Ritz-Carlton. I recognized him from about 10 or 15 yards away. Yep. And I shouted, "Hey, Michael." And he turned around and I said, "Hey, we have a mutual friend. by the way, I would like to help you with the, prison reform project that you're so passionate about. I said, how would I follow up with you or people in regards to that? He gave me his private email.
Wow.
Because I want to add value to something he cares about. Again, I wasn't trying to take, I was trying to add value. Another interaction this over the weekend, I was in the lobby and then I recognized Dominique Wilkins. I spent 20 years in Atlanta. Dominique Wilkins was the slam dunk champion. They called him the human highlight reel. Him and Michael Jordan would always go toe to toe in the slam dunk contest. But anyway, since I spent 20 years in Atlanta, and I've met Dominique before, but the reality is I don't think he would necessarily know me from Adam, to be honest with you. But, we hung out in the lobby for about 30 minutes. And in that time, Common, the singer, the Oscar Award winner, actor, rapper, whatever, he pops in and he shares a story. And I'm all about, being kind to others, giving to others, giving without receiving, all that kind of stuff, or giving without expectation. Common says to Dominique, do you remember when I was a little kid for the Chicago Bulls and I was the ball boy, do you remember giving me your sneakers? And Dominique says, I do. He goes, well, those sneakers came in really handy. I was able to sell them. Anyway, so that happens. I take a photo with Common. And then I say, hey, Common, I work with Cody Lee from America's Got Talent, okay?
Yeah.
And Cody is blind and autistic, yet still won America's Got Talent. And I said, I'd love to, hook you guys up or connect you guys sometime. So he gave me his, a contact to follow up with. And then I ended up having lunch for about an hour and a half with Dominique. And we talked about life, business, charity, his love of golf, what he does with diabetes, and all these different things, his business interests, what he wants his legacy to be, dating as a celebrity, and all these things. And there was a whole bunch of things after that I'm going to go follow up with him on. And literally in real time after we finished, I said to him when we finished our meeting, I said, have you ever spent any time with Peter Guber? Peter is the owner of the Golden State Warriors. He's also owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He owns a movie studio called Mandalay Entertainment. Anyway, the point is, super successful business guy. He goes, no. Now, obviously, they know each other. One owns a basketball team. The other's an NBA legend. I'm like, hey, let me connect you guys. So I sent an email introduction to the two of them. And, right before I got on this phone, I'm texting back and forth on Instagram with Dominique and stuff like that. And really, it's not like we go back a long time, but I had an impactful meal with him.
Yep.
I was impactful in the few minutes we were together in the lobby. And then afterwards, it's all about adding value to things he cares about. And that's really what it's all about. And whether you have a connection, whether you're mega connected or not, you can apply the strategies of, adding value, serving others. And it doesn't have to be having a big connection. It might be sending an article. It might be sending them this webinar, one of your links for your podcast. It could be sending an article if they want to lose weight. It could be any of those kind of things.
I love it. I think that's a great suggestion. And that's largely how I've led my life and my business in connecting and reaching out to powerful people. It's number one, do your research. I mean, I do a lot of research, trying to find out what are they passionate about, what charities do they participate in, what organizations are they active in, so that when you finally get that connection, like you said, you're able to add value and say, hey, I'd love to help you with your charity, or I understand that you're involved in this organization. I'd like to get involved. How do I follow up with you? I think that is so, so important. Many people know who follow me that I just connected, obviously, with Matthew Knowles, the founder of Music World Entertainment, and father to Beyonce, and of course Solange, and very influential, of course, in Destiny's Child and so many other great people. He's actually going to be joining me and attending an event next week, so we'll actually able to connect in person and sit down and spend some quality time, as well as other people, of course, that But really, what I want to kind of get a better understanding of is a lot of people that are going to be listening to this are like, well, man, I don't travel, I don't go to the NBA All-Star games. I'm not, quote, in these circles of influence where I can just walk up to somebody. What you have also found is that there's an ability to connect with people through social media, whether it's LinkedIn or maybe Instagram or something like that. What's the best way for somebody to reach out and try to make a connection with somebody that way?
So I think threefold. One, it's commenting in their comments on a regular basis.
Mm.
Then if you're going to direct message, you could direct message. You could send a physical something in the mail. It could be an oversized greeting card, a postcard.
Yep.
Here's the thing. If you were to message The Rock Johnson, let's be honest, he has so many followers and so many comments. The odds of him ever seeing it are it's not good.
Yeah.
So then you got to figure out who are his handlers, who else is in his circle. I had a bagel this morning in Chicago, and the guy's bagel shop, he happened to mention his daughter lives in LA.
Wow.
And shockingly enough, his daughter is the right-hand guy to The Rock Johnson.
Yep.
I messaged her this morning saying, hey, I met your dad in Chicago, loved his bagels. By the way, I hope we connect sometime in LA. I didn't mention anything about The Rock. Why? Everyone mentioned something about The Rock because she worked for him, So you got to be different. Like, so on someone's birthday, if they're getting 500 comments on their birthday, don't send it to them on their birthday. Reach out to them several days before their birthday, or do it after, or just be ultra creative. Send a video message, sing them happy birthday. Chase Bank, okay? Big Bank. The lady that is the chief marketing officer for Chase, she doesn't have many followers on her Instagram. It's tiny. So the level of comments on her Instagram, it's not that great. The CEO and chairman of Goldman Sachs, he doesn't have that many comments in his thing. So if you wanted to get to him, he's a DJ.
Yep.
If you were able to get him a DJ gig, guess what? You could probably show up, or you can reference something or send him something, and you're going to be able to get him talking because that's his passion thing. And he runs the biggest investment bank in the world, but he's a DJ on the side. But these are the kinds of things. And I love social media. It tells you about their family, their kids, their passions, their charities, and all this stuff. You can read all about them, so you can be very impactful when you reach out.
Yep. No, it's a great thoughts and great comments. One thing that you're probably an expert on that I think would be very helpful to people is you meet all of these influential people, and of course you've got all of these great connections, Larry. It's how you take a connection and then how you use that connection to, quote, connect with somebody else is in their network. Obviously, that does not happen overnight. You've got to build the trust. You've got to build that relationship with them so that they feel comfortable making that introduction on your behalf. I've become very good at that. But how do you recommend people, or how do you personally build that trust in relationship with somebody so that you can say, hey, by the way, who are you connected with that I also need to meet? Or like when you were up there in Chicago and you knew that this guy that you were sitting down with was friends with Jordan, you could say, hey, let's go over there and connect. How do you connect the dots where you're now building that network of people so that you're using your powerful connections to make additional stronger connections?
Well, it comes down to a couple things. First of all, you have to figure out what's important to other people.
Yep.
So when I meet someone, whatever we talked about, I put in my phone. Most people make the mistake. Listen, think about this. Most people know for sure relationships matter, relationships count, all that stuff.
Yep.
No one's going to say that doesn't. Everyone knows these things. Now the question becomes, if you were to meet someone and you got a phone number or an email or a contact, like, what do you do with that?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't put information in your phone or your CRM, so you become smarter and more intelligent when you are interacting with them in the future, there's no way to connect dots. So, for example, I'm in Chicago now. I met a guy very briefly for the Chicago Cubs, I don't know, 9 months ago. But had I not put the information in my phone in a certain way, that number or that information is gone forever.
Right.
So a couple things is, can you send them things, whether it's an article, a podcast, or a charitable event, or anything that's of value to them? Can you bring people together that are of like minds?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, I have a flight tonight at like 9 o'clock. I may at the very last minute say, hey, if anyone's available from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock or 7:30, I'm going to be at the hotel next to the airport if you can join for a drink.
Yep.
And I might text a handful of people, right? I'm heading off to Vegas, and I'm going to be thinking, who's in Vegas, or who's going to be at Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Con? Who's going to be there that's someone that I can introduce? Who's going to be there, people that I should be connecting with? It's those type of things. But that's how you go about connecting dots.
Sure.
Right? So some people, with Dominique, for example, he's a diabetic. He's also a spokesperson and he's done a lot of work around diabetes for 25 years. And I didn't know this. He told me this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in Chicago that I met very briefly last May at an investment conference. And basically, the guy has a startup, like a stem cell company, to solve diabetes, the problem with diabetes. So I think that would be a killer connection for both of them. But had I not put the information in my phone under Dominique with diabetes, and that other guy, stem cell startup for diabetes, it's what I'm saying? That's how you connect with us around relevant things.
Absolutely. Now, you also are known as the co-founder of an acronym called SANG, where you've hosted some of the world's top business thought leaders for events that you do. People like Tony Robbins, John Paul DeJoria, founder of Patron, and John Paul Mitchell Systems, the hair care products line, Paul Abdul, as well as a number of others. Can you touch upon what this is and kind of what you do through that organization and that platform?
So I started that group probably 12, 13 years ago with another gentleman named Chet Holmes, who's since passed away. But basically, we would have an annual conference. And like you mentioned, some of these great folks like Tony Robbins or Peter Guber and Tony Shea of Zappos and some of these great people would be, part of these things. But what I did, the theme that all of them had, they were either speaking, they were all really great entrepreneurs. Maybe they wrote a book or maybe they spoke. But what I learned is, like Les Brown, who's a great motivational speaker, he's an amazing speaker. He may not be the best businessman, or he may not be the best internet marketer, but he can teach a lot of people, and he can teach a billionaire how to be a more persuasive, influential speaker.
Sure.
You could put him at a breakfast table, though, with 6 online marketers like Russell Brunson or Vision Lakiani from Mind Valley, or Brendan Burchard, or any of these guys, and they could teach him online marketing. So that's really what we did for years, for well over a decade, hosting those kind of events. And those type of people like to come together because they would learn from each other, and they were the best in class at what they did.
Sure.
So I'm a big believer, even if you are in your local market and you're a real estate agent, an insurance agent, a mortgage agent, I believe reaching out to the top real estate agents in the city, reach out to the top mortgage brokers, the top insurance guys, and say, hey, can I sit down with you for a few minutes? I like to refer business to you. So if I'm referring people to the top people in their domain with their top domain expertise, it's going to get a lot easier to connect dots because they're the best in class at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
No one I've ever found is not going to give you time if you're willing to say, hey, I know you're busy, but can I get a couple minutes of your time just so I can meet you so I feel comfortable referring you business? I don't care how successful they are. They may not be able to give you the time today, but they'll carve out a few minutes for you sometime over the next 30, 60, or 90 days. And you do that daily it's like you're a local business or something. Good things will happen. Then you can go connect dots that way.
I love it. I love it. You know, one thing I want to ask about, which I saw in your bio, is, you know, you're obviously a great connector. You know how to connect with people, but how do you also build trust and rapport quickly so that you can sell more to people in less time?
So what I like to do is if I've met somebody, I am then going to see what I could do to add value in a quick period of time. And I'm not going to do something once. I'm going to try to do it quick, boom, boom, boom. I learned from the power of three that I learned from Ken Cragen. Ken created We Are the World. He was Lionel Richie's manager, a good friend of mine.
Yep.
And the concept is using Dominique. So I had lunch with Dominique, took a photo with Dominique. I posted about Dominique on how nice, kind, and humble he was. Now, whether he saw that or not, I don't know. It was NBA weekend.
Yep.
I then text messaged him. I then literally, after the meal we had, I introduced him to one of the billionaire owners, right?
Sure.
After that, I then messaged him, I think last night or this morning, I can't remember, saying, hey, I look forward to following up with you about the stuff we talked about with diabetes, and then I'm going to send another email introduction to the guy that owns the stem cell startup that's going to solve diabetes. So literally in very quick, bang, 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 so it's more memorable, you know?
Sure.
And those are the type of things that I like to do. Again, and I'm hitting them into multiple channels on Instagram, cell phone. I probably will send him a greeting card with me and his picture with a little bit like a nice little note, and I'll send that to the Atlanta Hawks organization.
Yep.
Those are, you know, and again, it doesn't have to be, oh, Larry knows famous people. I'm saying you could go do these type of things. You could swipe information off their social media when it's their birthday and they're posting with their families or whatever, and then you could swipe the pictures and put it into a greeting card. If people hit me, I'll teach them what I do on how I do it and the services and technology and all that stuff that we use. But I try to do things that are different so I am memorable, and I try to do things when other people don't do them, again, to just be different, to stand out. Check this out. This is interesting. A year ago at the NBA All-Star Weekend, I'm in the lobby of the Westin Hotel.
Wow.
I get introduced to a gentleman. I don't know who he is. I come to find out after the fact, holy cow, this guy is so connected with A-list celebrities. He is the head of celebrity relations for Sheldon Adelson. Oh. Sheldon owns the Venetian Hotel. Sure. He owns a hotel casino in Macau, China.
Yep.
This guy, that's his job. All the VIPs and all the celebrities, it's his job to, you know, take care of them. Yeah. Anyway, I realized this after I meet the guy. And I've been contacting and staying in touch, commenting on his Instagram. If there's something relevant, you know, I'll message him or whatever. He says to me the other day, shockingly, I didn't even know he followed me.
Wow.
He goes, Larry, I just want to say, he goes, I really enjoy your content, and I really appreciate how consistent you are. He goes, a lot of people, when they come at me, they want something. Mm-hmm. And that just goes to prove my theory. Stay in touch, be different, be memorable, add value, drip, 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 drip.
Yep.
Him and I finally met. We had a 2-hour meeting the other day. I told him he should go do a book. I told him I can maybe help him on some of the stuff on the speaking. Yep. And these are things that I can help him with or open up doors for or just lend my expertise and ideas. And, he, you know, like I said, this guy is super connected.
Love it. I love it. It's all about connections. It's all about, as you know, following up, and it's all about staying relevant and doing something different. So
Yeah.
All great, great advice for people. Tell us a little bit about your book, The Connection Currency, how to get what you want faster than you ever thought possible. What's in your book, and how can people, more importantly, get it?
Yeah, they can just go to Larry Benet, benet.com/ebook. We'll
Okay.
send it to them for free. It's more stories, it's more principles, it's more ideas like you and I are talking about.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, like I said, they can just go to the larrybenet.com/ebook to get it for free. /ebook. And or if they hit me on Instagram, we can kind of stay in touch or whatnot. But yeah.
Fantastic. And do you have any events coming up on the calendar that you're speaking at, or that you're going to be at for people?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I haven't actually posted some of those because some of them are private events
Sure.
that I'm speaking at or whatnot. Actually, I'm in the process of redoing the website, so we'll probably put some of that stuff up there. I tend to share a lot on social between my Instagram and my Facebook. We'll be doing more on LinkedIn as well. But like I said, I mean, we talked a lot about direct messaging.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I posted on my social media wall about a gentleman named Harrison Field who created a unique tennis experience for young kids, and I wanted to go help him personally. And then you reached out to me, I think in the comments. I believe that's how you and I connected.
Correct, I believe so. Yeah, because I knew, of course, Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, and so one of the top tennis players in the world, and he has a foundation to help kids, and so you offered to make an introduction. So I'm just, in the world that we live in, social media is so powerful. It can really break down walls. And if you are persistent and consistent enough and you're adding value, I am a big believer. You can connect with anyone, anytime, anywhere, and no matter who they are, and sometimes you can do it off social. Sometimes you got to go do it through a referral, through another introduction, through being in the right place at the right time. Or in your case, you're talking about Matt Knowles going to a charity event. What charity event are you and Matt going to?
We're actually going to, it's not a charity event. It's an event here in Houston called Meeting of the Minds. It's actually being hosted by my good friend, Coach Michael Burt. I don't know if you know Coach Michael Burt, but Michael is very well connected. He knows people like Tim Story, Sharon Lecter. He spoke at 10X. He knows Grant Cardone, Ed Milet. So he's up there at a league as probably one of the top 10 coaches in the coaching and speaking industry. And obviously he does a lot of work here in the Houston area. And so once a month, he hosts this event called Meeting of the Minds. And I just thought it would be a great way to add value to Matthew and say, hey.
Is that where Matthew lives, is in Houston?
Yeah, he's here in Houston, Texas. Yep. And so since we're both local, I said, hey, I've met Dr. Stephen Hotze. Dr. Hotze is probably known as one of the best wellness physicians around the world. People from all over the planet come in to get treated at the Hotze Wellness Clinic as his guest. Of course, Johnny Caraba, who owns a large chain of restaurants here. And Matthew checked his schedule, said, sure, I'd love to come. And so made that connect.
I am a huge believer. If you are a professional inviter, you don't have to invite people to your events.
Yeah.
It could just be all other people's events. And as long as you're inviting them to something that's of value for them around things they care about, even if they can't make it, if he couldn't make it, he might say, you know what, Brad, I really appreciate it. Invite me again the next time.
Yeah, exactly.
And you made a deposit, a relationship deposit or a connection. And I think that's all it's all about.
I love that term, making a deposit, building credit, but basically, like you said earlier, lead with value, get in the habit of leading with value so that you're not taking from the relationship, you're giving to the relationship.
100%. Listen, if someone is watching or listening and they want to grow their business or take their company to the next level, or if they're trying to raise capital, or if they're trying to raise money for their charity, they're trying to hire key employees, whatever it is.
Yep.
If relationships matter, which I believe they do, they got to follow these simple principles. And if someone's really trying to up-level their game, have them reach out to me if there's some ways that I could be of value or service, whether it's coaching them, consulting them, or whatnot. But I'm just a huge believer in these type of things. And like I said, I think social media has made things easier than ever before, because I can learn so much about someone online before I ever talk to them, reach out to them, whatnot. Anyone can do that. It's just a question of how organized are they? What technology are you using? What systems are in place so you can follow up? There's something that I use. I don't know if everyone else does, but I call them trigger events.
Mm-hmm.
So there's personal and business trigger events. So personal might be your birthday, your anniversary, a divorce, a college graduation. That's all personal.
Yeah.
You can reach out to someone around these things. But on business, maybe they raise capital, or their business, hit a milestone, or the company went public, or, maybe they were on television, or their book became a bestseller. These are great trigger events to reach out, touch someone, add value, contribute to them. But unless you're organized and using the right type of technology and the right tools, it's really difficult to manage networks, build relationships, and do it at scale.
Yep. No, I totally agree. You got to have a system in place. It's all about planning your work, working your plan, and having systems in place so you can keep track of all of this stuff. Absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic, Larry. A lot of great information. I know the people that are part of our Beast Nation and those that are not, that listen and follow us, are going to love this. You're definitely, again, like I said, man, one of the most connected dudes on the planet. And again, it's Larry Benet. You can go to his website. You can get his book, The Connection Currency. And I want to thank you so much for being a guest of ours today on Beast Nation.
I appreciate having me. Thank you.